Welcome. Thanks for coming out on a cold day and an unusual day. We don't normally have programs on Fridays, but I think this worked out really, really well. A few library announcements real quick. Just an update on our fund expansion project. We have identified phase 1 to go after to open the playground and the outdoor space. So all funds being raised right now are going to go to resurfacing the playground. There's a few minor repairs on the hardware, not many, and new signage. That's a liability thing. We need some new signage. So if you're interested in supporting that project, there's more information at the desk. Also, we're getting ready for summer reading program. We're really excited for this year. It's a history theme. It's the same theme as the Two Peaks One Book series, if you've participated in that at Our Story. And you can support that. We've got an Amazon wish list, and this goes to help support the incentives. So kids read a certain number of books, and then it's a checkpoint, and at each checkpoint they get an incentive to where by the end of the summer they will have built their own archaeological kit with all kinds of tools and supplies and even fossils and stuff that they can go dig through, which is really neat. So it's a really good incentive. So if you'd like to support that, this will also be at the desk. And then tomorrow we continue our Two Peaks One Book program. This one is at the theater, so please do not come here. And it is at 1 o'clock instead of our normal 2 o'clock. And the I cannot word it.
We know what you mean.
Thank you. Featured in the book is coming down from CSU. So it was actually his work featured in the book, and he's going to come and talk about it, and it's a really a special guest. This is a great time for Elise to come in. We were so excited when she said, hey, I want to do this program. We thought, oh my gosh, yes, this is so important. So you're going to get to learn all kinds about spring cleaning and decluttering and getting your house in a much more feng shui state. And it is interactive, so you all have clipboards and pencils. We are filming this, so just be mindful if you do want to get more tea or a yummy snickerdoodle cookie, there is a camera rolling back there, so just be a little mindful of that. And I will turn this over. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming. We're so excited to collaborate with the library. Ashley and I joined forces a couple months ago where we decided that we just didn't want to keep repeating ourselves because she was doing things that I wanted to do and vice versa. We're like, why don't we just do this together and put our name on both of these things? So you'll see like when Dr. Dutton comes here in April, and just this workshop and other things throughout the year that we just want to kind of join forces to help the community. So we're really thankful that you came. So let me just tell you that I had to call this spring downsizing because people recognize the word downsizing. But it's a negative term because then people think in their mind, oh, I have to get rid of stuff because I'm downsizing from what I have, correct?
Yeah. Right.
So, when I was a senior move manager, the word is right-sizing. But if I called this spring right-sizing, nobody would know what the hell we were doing. Right? So I had to call it spring downsizing. So welcome to spring right-sizing. So things for you to think about before you begin this process, and this is where you're going to interact right off the bat. So I want you to review your current situation in your mind, look at your space, look at the rooms, and look at how in your mind's eye you want them to look and feel and be. What would you like to happen? So I want you to write that down. What do you want to happen in your house? What do you want to happen in your space? Right. Come on, Edna. Nobody can take this for you.
It's going to be a therapy session.
It is. You just got started. Okay.
Uh-oh, here comes another patient.
So we're just answering these questions. So I had just asked to review your current situation in your mind's eye, what your space looks like now, and what you would like it to look like. And so we're answering question number
Okay.
1. What would you
All
like
right.
to happen? And then as you're thinking about that, then there's the reality. What is really going to happen? So what things can you really change? So for instance, I'm just going to jump off of Edna's topic here. I really need to find somebody to help me actually literally physically remove some junk stuff, etc., so I can spring clean, so I can get rid of the dust, so I get rid of maybe some excess trash, whatever it is. So what things can really happen? So answer that question. Because all of us have grandiose ideas that we're just going to go in there and just do this sweep, right? But is that realistic? And then later on, we're going to talk about who's going to do it. So you don't have to answer that question yet. And then how can it become a reality? What is it going to take for you to make this a reality? Do you have to hire somebody for help? Do you have family that you can call on, friends, relatives, somebody that can make this transition of change in your space? Okay? All right. So when is too much too much? How many pretty things do you need in your house? Some people are just collective of, collectors. They like all the pretty stuff, and oh, that's so pretty, and that's so nice, and that's so wonderful. I would love to have that. Whether it's art, pottery, whatever it is, whatever your stuff is. This is also something that I want you to think about through the presentation. How much is too much? How many, damn specialists you need to have? I walked into people's homes and there's like 5 of them. Like, you use all 5 of these? And they're like, oh yes. Use it, you wash it, you put it in the drawer, and then you use it again. I mean, well, I wonder if that one goes bad. Well, then you got to buy another one. When was the last time you wore those clothes? So this is the hard one. I mean, really, you get to wash every 7 days, 5 days, however long you do laundry. The bottom line is, if you haven't worn something in your closet for a year, you probably need to get rid of it, or resize yourself and find out. So pick a time that you literally can go through your closet and just right-size yourself. Have you gained weight this year? Have you not gained weight? How many red tops do you need to have? How many white blouses do you need to have? So this is a funny story. This weekend, my mother-in-law unexpectedly moved in with us on very, very, very short notice. And we had to move her out in a day.
Oh,
It was an emergency situation, and she had already downsized from a very, very large house in Delagua Canyon in Trinidad. And this grandson moved her over to his little house in Rye. Situation was not going well for her, so we had to move her out immediately. And as I'm going through her closet, she really downsized. I mean, they threw out a lot of crap, and to be honest, I'm really glad I didn't have to do that because it was really a big project. But this project, we literally got her out in that space in 2 hours.
wow.
She had already pre-moved and packed some stuff while we came with the auto trailer. But as I'm going through her closet, there's 5 white blouses from 1970. And so I literally had to take a bag of vintage clothes to Trinidad this week because she had 5 white blouses. I'm like, oh, that was pretty. Oh, that one will fit. I'll keep that one. And I'll dress away. True, I did. I kept it. It was really pretty. But now that gave me 4 white blouses. And I'm like, Lisa, why did you take that white blouse? So I have the problem too. So it's just not you. And then I'm having the question, do I need to keep my mother's china or sterling silver or tools or how many, power tools you need, whatever the item is, do you use it? Do you need it? Do you really want to keep it for, keepsake? And so here she is with her silver. Here, honey, you want my silver? I'm like, no, Walmart, that's my mother's and my grandmother's, So how many of those things do you really need? Sorry, the slides didn't come out the way we had put them on the computer, so you're going to see some funny stuff that didn't look the way it did on the computer. Are you being real with what you can do and what you want to do and how you are going to accomplish the ultimate goal? So I want you to write down, what is your ultimate goal? Maybe you just want to spring clean and maybe rearrange. which is a good fresh start. That's a really good start. I love it when I get to do that. I just want to move everything out of the space, wash my walls, wash my windows, window seals, baseboards, and really clean. And then put everything back. And then what happens after you really physically do that cleaning or have somebody else do that cleaning, then it's like a fresh start. Then you can start to put stuff back and kind of rearrange and go, oh, this is a new thing, without having to get rid of some of your stuff. But it's just the change of making that move. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So getting rid of the things you don't need would be great, but how do you really downsize or unload if you like your stuff and you don't want to get rid of your stuff? That's how you do it. You take everything out, start fresh in a clear room, wash it down, do the fans, the walls, the windows, and everything, and start fresh. And then put everything back in, and maybe you're going to get a different view of that room. And you're going to go, you know what, I want to put that chair over there instead, and maybe that table over there. Do a different lamp, and then your feng shui starts to come in. So this is where you get to start to really look at your space and take a different view of it by simply removing everything out of it. If you have the room to take everything out and put it someplace else. Okay, so that could be a problem. All right, the way to get started is to quit talking and just do it. Just do it. Just pick one room and do it. It's really easy. And so who's going to be on your team? So are you flying solo? Can somebody help you? Is it going to be your son, your daughter-in-law, a neighbor, a spouse? Who's helping you? So write those people down right now too. If you could pick 3 people right now, that would be great. So do you have 3 people you could put down right now? Kathy, you're not writing anything.
The last 2 years, my grandson came and he looked at my list and he did what he wanted. Are you not coming this year?
So try to find your people, okay? Everybody needs a support system and everybody has their tribe. Find out who your tribe is and who you can get, to help you. This is where the computer was up, so I think you guys can read it just with a few little spaces. So what needs to happen first? You should probably sort. So pick that one room at a time, start small and then go big, but start sorting. So just like if it's an office, let's say, go through the office and start in the office. Start on a bookshelf. Do you need all those books? Start in the file cabinet. Do you need all those old files or their old taxes and old forms and old bills and receipts or whatever you keep in your file cabinet? Can you start to sort now and get rid of the, 7 years? Can you get rid of stuff that's collecting dust that you literally have not moved in years because it's been sitting there in a pile on your desk this high and it's just covered in dust? So obviously it's not important if you have not gone through that and it's 7 years high full of dust, right? This is what I do. In the trash. Must not have been important if I didn't go through it. What can you throw away today? So today when you go home, after this presentation, walk through your house and just look. Is there anything I can throw away? I don't know, some of you may be hoarders, some of you may not be, but is there some stuff that I've walked into people's homes and it's just been amazing. You're literally walking through the aisle like this and you're trying not to step and touch on anything because over here it's just really gross. And so your house is probably not like that, but I'm saying, do you collect papers? Do you collect magazines? Do you collect clutter, things that should be thrown away? Okay? Question? What? Is that you? No. Sorry. The big thing here is emotional attachment. And this is the biggest part about decluttering and right-sizing. So that if there is an emotional attachment, and this is me, and all of my emotional attachment stuff is in boxes, in sheds, or containers, because when I went from I'll just tell you my story. I moved into a very small 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, but then my mother died, my grandmother died, and my sister died. So within 3 years, I had 3 people's collections of stuff, and mementos, and jewelry, and clothes, and things that I wanted, and I kept. But my small house didn't really have that space, and I took what I could, and then I boxed the rest, and I kept it. And then when I moved from Trinidad to Levita, it went to a shed. And then when I moved out of Levita to my house now, it's in a container. And you haven't looked at it in over. And I haven't looked at it in over 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so now my mother-in-law moves in, now I have all of her crap. And so I'm like, told Robert, we're having a big garage sale this year, and I'm just going to do everything. But for years, there's been that emotional attachment. It's my mother's. It's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
To me, it's what the item represents.
yeah.
Like I was on this trip, or I was,
Yes, yeah.
it's not the item itself, it's what it represented in my life.
My mother, my grandmother, my sister. So the right sizing comes, all right, I'm gonna keep that top that I can't throw away because that was my mother's, or that dress that my sister's, or that ring that that I took from my sister. Those kind of things are important because then I get to take them with me every day, right? So I have my sister here every day with me versus in a box. So there's that emotional attachment to you that if you're keeping stuff that has that nostalgic influence in your life, that's where you emotionally have to kind of work through that, okay? And then, does the family really want it? Can you start, and we're going to talk about this later with labeling stuff, if you have family that wants some of your stuff, start giving it away if you do want to right size and tell people, hey, I'm going to kind of rearrange the house. Would you like some of my stuff now? Because it's not important to me. It's important to me because I want you to have it if you want it. And if they don't want it, then what do you do with it?
Consignment stores.
Yeah, make some money back off of it. Because then we're getting back to the question of, do you really need it? And so let's say, for instance, let's just use clothing for an example. You could do a clothing swap. You could gather some friends and say, hey, let's do a swap. That I do have too many red shirts and maybe I just want to, you know, give you some of my stuff and maybe I'll take yours, but maybe I won't. You know, you could do that and enjoy people instead of the stuff. Think like a man. Thank God we have a couple men in here. And I think about this when I look in my husband's closet. 4 pairs of pants and maybe a dozen shirts. I'm like, why can't I be like that? Because he doesn't dress up a lot. He has a lot of work clothes, but he doesn't dress up a lot and have a lot of dress clothes versus, you know, our closets are different because of what we do. But, I mean, truly, Dr. Ace, how many clothes do you have? Do you have a closet full of clothes?
I got more t-shirts than
Than anything. So you're a t-shirt guy.
In your
Yeah.
closet.
Yeah. So, I mean, how many t-shirts do you need? Right? You need 7 days in the week.
Well, I probably wear a dozen of those.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got at least 50, 60, 70.
But it's like what Robin says, maybe he got that shirt in Cape Cod, or maybe he got this shirt in Mexico, or whatever it is, and there's a little bit of attachment to it because it was a little memento from the trip. I get
I
that.
have like 25 cycling jerseys.
Yeah, because of your cycling, I get it. Truly, I'm going to admit here that I'm a shopping addict. That emotional attachment, that dopamine high of buying something new. So, Edna, if you love shopping, then I have a form for you up here that says what dopamine does to you when you shop and how true a shopping addiction is. So if you guys want to know about that, there's that. But it's real. And if you really catch yourself where you just, oh, I'm going to go up to Pueblo. I can't get away from Pueblo, it's $500 later. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just spent $500 on a bunch of bullshit. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm getting better. So I'm learning to stop my insanity and realizing what I just did. My God, that was really stupid. I could have put that in savings. Or I could have done something better. Or I could have donated that money. I don't need another red shirt. See my point? So catch yourself in the act if you are a shopping addict. Go back to the need versus the want. And so I started the need versus the want about 10 years ago. So I started realizing my problem about 10 years ago. And so when I start to buy something, I tell myself, do I need this? Or do I want it? So then that stops me from bringing something more into my house. So that's what I'm getting at here. So if you have that problem, then here's a little handout for Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, so that you can start to understand what your need is for another pretty thing in your house.
I found also by taking just cash,
Yes. That's a good idea.
Unlimited.
And you're limited, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. See, and that's probably a good trick you play on yourself, because I'm the opposite. If I take cash, I can't keep cash in my wallet because I'll know, oh, I've got some, yeah, sure, I have some money here. You know, I'm giving it to homeless people, I'm buying coffee, so I can't do cash. If it's on my card, I tend to be a little harder with it, you know, because I know I have bills back there, you know, but still. And delete all my naps. You know, Temu and all of those other little silly ones that just, oh, $5.99, $2.99, you know. It's so easy to just add those dollars up, and there are people that do that. Do the work to detach, that less is more. And I finally got this when I downsized from the Trinidad house to the Levita house, because even though it was a bigger house, I liked the fact that I didn't need that stuff, and I had better feng shui in my house, and that's when I started to get into feng shui, is which position my bed was in, which position my couch was in, and how the room fit, and how it felt, and the energy when I walked into the house. Was it warm? And one of the things that I learned, and this is no insult, but as I was studying this, what I learned, and that's why I'm saying less is more, is because simple is easy. It's easier on your eyes, and it's easier on your brain. So when you have less in the room, your brain is also uncluttered, and then you have more space to think. Isn't that funny? But there's a science behind that. And so again, studying the feng shui of your space, think light, not heavy or dark. Because sometimes you can walk into a room that's very cluttered, and doesn't it feel heavy?
Claustrophobic.
It feels heavy, doesn't it? Versus if you walk into, you see in the magazines and you see in these fancy rich people's house, they don't have a lot of stuff. They have maybe one lamp and a cute little, token on the lamp, and but it's all plain. And so, think of that. And saying goodbye is easy when it doesn't matter. And it goes back to, we're not going to take this with us when we die syndrome. And that's kind of how it's helped me unload a lot of stuff. If I don't have a lot of space, it's really not going to matter because I don't have the space. Whoops. What happened?
Too many slides.
Yeah, it's over.
You decluttered.
Can I just go like this? Oh.
Yeah.
It's over. Oh, come on, man. How do we really reduce our clutter? Smaller spaces. So say, for instance, you are literally downsizing and you have to move to a senior living or a smaller space, or move in with in-laws or family or whatever. So just the automatic downsizing occurs when you are having to move. I mean, that's immediate, just like my mother-in-law. Saying you're taking the necessities, what are those possessions that are most valuable to you that you would take? So if you're not moving and you're not downsizing your space physically, and you're not moving from a large house to a small house or whatever, but you want to, then this is where you start the process. You start to decide, what possessions do you want to take with you? What possessions are valuable to you? So say you're tired of your big house and you don't want it anymore, and you really do want to downsize from a 4-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, and you want a smaller home. What would you take? So there's an inventory for you. And this is homework you have to do at home. So write this down. If I had to downsize and move to a smaller space, what would I take? So just write down, what would I take? So this starts to get you in your mind's eye the value of the things you have. So that if you're not really moving, then this will help you start to right size now. So you don't necessarily have to be moving, but it begins the thought process in your head so that you don't feel so overwhelmed with the process of going, what am I going to do with all of my stuff, and how much am I really going to move, get rid of, take? So think about if you really had to move tomorrow, what possessions would you take? And multiple passes to get the chore done. It does not mean that you're doing it today in one day. Take a month to do one room. Set a goal for yourself. I want to try to accomplish this room by the end of April. Whatever. Just give yourself space to start to sort. Are you just tired of your stuff? What are you tired of and why do you want to get rid of it? So you have to ask yourself that. Do you like to organize and redecorate? And are you tired of the same clothes? Are you simply too tired or incapable of moving the stuff or letting it go? And do you like cleaning it off, dusting it, or washing it? So these are more questions you also have to ask yourself. And when was the last time you really spring cleaned? I mean, God, it's the dust and where my house is and all the wind. I mean, it's like I gotta keep up on it all the time. So I'm looking forward to my spring cleaning this year. Organizational ideas. First, reduce the clutter, then organize what you want to keep. So first get rid of stuff that you already know. I don't want this anymore. I don't like this anymore. Compartmentalize with tubs and drawers and bins and things that you maybe have scattered all over the house. And so pick a theme of stuff. Do you really have office stuff over there and there and there in your house? Do you have it all organized in one room? Do you have it in a bin where you can easily access it? So you could try that. And organize it in a way that you know that when your memory, you know how you go, God, what did I do with that? Does anybody do that? And you don't remember what you did with it in the house, but you know it's somewhere. And then you walk to that room and you think, I think it's in here. And then you have to search through everything trying to find it. And can you find it? Pat's looking at me like she sometimes finds it, sometimes she doesn't. So compartmentalize your rooms, and maybe that will help. Maybe put a bin with, like, say, for instance, sewing stuff, or craft stuff, or whatever it is that you collect. And then again, keep what you really need and want, and keep the stuff where you use it. So if it really is office stuff, and you have an office, put it in office stuff. If you don't have an office, but you need to make space for office stuff, and maybe you use your kitchen table as your office, or a little niche or something, then put it there. Simplifying to see what you have reduces the clutter in your mind. So this is what I mean by going through one room at a time and simplifying the room. And really trying to organize the room where you're getting the labels, you're categorizing, you're putting it in the tub. If you're having trouble finding stuff, why? Are you disorganized? All those things. And that starts to organize your brain, which helps you organize the stuff. And then it's easier to declutter. Love a label maker. If you don't have a label maker, get one. That always helps. Put the tubs, put what it is. My crafts, my sewing stuff, my magazines from 1945, whatever it is. Let's talk more about the emotional attachment. So obviously throw away the stuff that's junk. If you're a junk collector, there are people that just don't get rid of junk. Get rid of stuff that are unused items. When was the last time you really used that item? So think about that. Clothes or objects that are ruined or can't be worn or fixed that you are not likely to repair them. Can't tell you how many pairs of my husband's work jeans that I've saved for years that I'm going to patch. And they're in a tub. Not going to happen. Just go buy new jeans. I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend my time on that. So I start just throwing them away and it doesn't know it. Give it away. Does your family want the china and silverware? If you don't use it, if you're not entertaining anymore and you're not having the big dinner parties, that's what kills me about my small spaces. I can't use my china and have my little dinner parties. So it's just sitting there and I don't know what to do with it yet. Organizations can use the item maybe. So maybe you can donate it, There's some really good consignment stores out there and thrift stores. Maybe you want to ask neighbors and friends if they can use it. Maybe list the item with the names before your death and tag it so that your family can shop in your house or just give it to them now. This is a real good one. So get a label, they make those colored labels, the big ones and the little ones, and then put your children's name on the bottom of who you want to have it. If there's not a fight, if them, I don't know how, let me just tell you this. From my experience, some people don't always want to be kind about taking mom's whatever. Well, I wanted that, and then I wanted that, and then they fight over it, right? Stupid. So if you know that if you have children that you want to pass stuff along to, and if you haven't had that conversation with them, but you for sure know, like my mother's painting of the Virgin Mary was definitely going to my sister, and nobody questioned that. She even had a piece of tape on the back that said, "This goes to Jeannie." And so when my mom died, we all knew that went to Jeannie and nobody questioned it. But maybe you have bickering children that don't get along when they want it, you know? So make sure that you decide that you're doing that now instead of after your death, and then there's a bunch of crap to deal with. And then garage sales and curb-free signs are always a good option. That's terrible. Okay, so a little bit more
I'm
homework.
gonna ask a question.
Yes,
About the
ma'am.
Garage sale thing. I don't wanna have a garage sale. I don't live where it's good to have one. Is there a charity organization in town that's holding the garage sale? It seems to me around Memorial Day, some fundraising.
No.
thing. No?
No, but Dorcas takes stuff,
Yes, Sarah.
clothing and jewelry.
Normally, the auxiliary for the Vita Village has garage sale. We
Part of the
have
bargain.
chosen
And when?
not to do it.
They're not doing it this year.
Do it
It's too hard.
because
Too
we're
much work.
old and we
My
cannot
own house.
carry things in and out, in and
I
out,
was
in and
just
out.
thinking if there was.
We cannot get rid of the leftovers.
And then we end up taking it to Dorcas or to Goodwill. So we stopped doing that. So yeah, no, not here locally. Dorcas, and now even Dorcas is so space limited,
Yeah,
that in their box outside in the back, they're even saying sometimes no donations.
yeah, because our church took stuff left over from a rummage sale
Yeah.
to Dorcas, and they had like a cabin out there, a shed
Right.
out back, and it was to the ceiling. So
Yeah.
that Dorcas
Yeah, I
doesn't
know,
even
I
need
know.
it.
Yeah, they've even had to have that shed now.
Yeah.
New Pueblo and Springs thrift stores, because there's a lot of them up there. That's where I go now.
Where?
Just the Arc in Pueblo or the New Horizons on Pueblo
Goodwill.
Boulevard, not Pueblo Boulevard, Elizabeth. It's, you just have to go up north,
Goodwill.
and Goodwill, yeah.
I used to take a lot of stuff to Santa Fe when I went down.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And they're great consignment stores in
Right.
Santa Fe.
And
Then you come back with more.
where,
Damn, this is good stuff.
if you don't want spending the money for mailing stuff, there are organizations like the Indian Reservations for clothes, and there are organizations that will take donations if you don't mind shipping and spending that shipping cost to them. So that's another option, if you don't want it, like, load it in your car and go take it somewhere. All right, so just some really quick questions. You don't have to answer them right now, but I want you to start thinking this. What are your essentials to keep? And what's in your basement? And what can go to donation? So think about keep, essential, and basement. Like, do you have a basement? No? So if nobody has a basement and extra stuff, because that, you know, that tends to, everything goes down in the basement. And then donations, what really can you donate? Okay. All right, if I was forced to move tomorrow, what's next? Wonder if you had a medical emergency and something happened. These are options, they're individual choices, but there are some people I've known that had to immediately rent the house. They were in a situation medically where they could not leave, go back, so they had to leave immediately. The kids ended up renting the house. They just took the clothes out, they took the personal stuff out, they left everything in, and they just rented it as a furnished home, and then gave that money to mom. And that's kind of what happened because of the situation and how quickly it changed. So they're just taking the essentials, and then you do have that question, are you going to trust the people, and you're leaving items that you don't care if it gets damaged or ruined. So that's one choice. Why is the home so important emotionally? I mean, we know financially. Can somebody answer that for me? Why is it so hard for somebody to want to leave their home? Let's say I move into an assisted living or a nursing home or into a child's home, because let's say they can't manage at home alone anymore.
Well, I don't think they're willing to identify with the fact that I cannot do it myself, and they want to continue to stay until they're more or less forced out. But I think that's the emotion. It's mine, I'm here, why can't I stay here? I don't want to go anyplace else.
It's a loss of independence.
Yes, that's the other one, yeah. It's the loss of independence. I think it's not really the home per se, because the home is an asset, right? So I mean, yeah, you could sell the asset and then use that asset to go live in a retirement community or something different or smaller or whatever. But there's that, you're right, it's that emotional attachment to yourself, to your stuff, and to your home, because that's all you've known. It's a control tactic and it's a comfort level tactic. Because what's that place going to be like? What am I going to feel like there? Am I going to still be independent? You're right, it's all those questions about your independence and about can you manage that new place. So that can be so fearful to somebody in leaving their home that they're no, I'm going to stay here in this space. This is better. So that's why it's really hard. And when I know I can't take this stuff with me when I die, why is it so hard to let it go? That emotional attachment, that just the control of it, it's my stuff. Years and years to buy this stuff, and I have, attachment of memory and nostalgia, and for some people it's a loss. The loss is too heavy. That's why it's hard. And then to me though, my quality of life is more important, because when you detach from the stuff, and I care more about, let's say, my health and spending the money on my health and my independence of having support in an environment, then it could be easy for some people. Is this a discussion, if you leave it for your family to do, is this a discussion you've had with your family? This is important because if you have children, and even if you don't have children, the discussion needs to be had. Somebody needs to know what to do with your stuff if you don't have a will made, or you don't have it in the will, or whatever. And did you put that little dot on that little statue because you want your daughter to have it? So there's like almost in your downsizing and your right sizing, there's a preparation of what's coming next. Do you know what I'm saying? Sorta?
Yeah.
So you don't want to leave it to family. I've seen too many times where even when I was working in the funeral business and an unexpected death came, people were, excuse my French, pissed. Now I gotta deal with all the stuff in the house. And I'm like, didn't she leave a will? No, there's no will. We don't know what to do with all this now. And we don't even know what she wanted. And, so that's what I'm saying. Your future preparations have to be kind of set in order so that you're not leaving your stuff, your house, your life left to somebody else to sort. Because that's not fun, and it's hard. So write down why your legacy is so important, and that's what matters. So you got to write this stuff out for who's coming next after you're gone. In summary, the chore comes down to just a few things. What is your intent for how you spend your days in the space you want to live in? And so that's really important. So you need to ask yourself that. How do you want to spend your days? Out partying, having fun, socializing, visiting with people, right? You want to spend it with people. You want your space to be calm when you come home. You don't want to come home to a space that goes, oh God, I have this to do and do and do and do and do, right? That's, so it comes down to your intent on what you want to do for your space in your life. And is this something that you can do on your own, or do you really need help? So can I just see a show of hands of how many of you really need help to do this chore? Do any of you need help doing this chore?
There's a internal debate between need and want.
Yes.
And I'm not sure I need, but I definitely don't want someone to come in like my sister and take charge.
Right. Well, and especially, let's say for instance, it's all about your state of mind. So that if it's somebody who's had, let's just use an example, I don't want to say any of you. I'm just saying, if you're dealing with a hoarder personality, that is totally a professional thing. You really need to hire a professional to deal with that person because hoarding is a psychological disease. And you don't want, Jonathan's right, you don't want somebody coming into your house going, really, you need to keep this, you want this? And telling you what to do with your stuff, right? So this is something that you need to decide how you want your space to be and how you want to spend your days. And that, do you want to deal with this later on when maybe you're incapacitated to do it and you can't, and then somebody's making those choices for you. Okay? And so just, like I said, if you haven't already picked your team, you need to find your team. If you can't do this by yourself. So Edna, is your son going to help you with this, or do you have to do it by yourself, you know? So you're going to have to ask Nikki, yeah.
I would have to have help to do painting or anything that's higher than I can reach because I'm not allowed on the ladder or the stool. So, anyway, yes. I would-
Okay, so
to
leave
do that
today.
sort of thing, but the rest of it, no, I'm not really, I don't really have a lot of clutter in the first place.
Oh, good.
I have a small house.
Yeah, anyway.
And anyway, so, yeah.
So for you, it literally is spring cleaning. You just need to find somebody to help clean your house and kind of get you in a clean space.
Clean the walls.
Yeah, and all that
do any
stuff.
painting or anything.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't come today with a referral of that. I know Sarah said that she knows somebody, but does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Yes, please.
I kind of missed part of your speech because when you said you took in all stuff from your mother, your sister, and somebody else.
My grandmother.
Yeah. I came up with an idea just this past week, because I've been thinking about it. Would it help me, like, I hold on, I have tubs that I never look at, they're 20, 30 years, been in the basement cabinet, lots of tubs of other people's stuff that was memories from my childhood. If I just took pictures of those on my iPad and then got rid of that stuff, and then if I think I need to look at old memories,
Yeah.
I just look
Yeah.
at the pictures.
Yes,
of it.
that's a great idea. I've heard a lot of people do
Both
that.
Tim and I, we have a lot of things like that.
Right, right.
Luckily, we don't own storage sheds
Right,
and
right.
stuff like that. We haven't gotten that.
We haven't gone that far.
Yeah, we
We've
don't
got
that far
we've
yet.
got all this memorabilia that we
Right.
never look at.
Right.
We just move it from place to place.
And you know, the thing that I've seen, which really bothers me, is that if you have children
They
and
don't want it.
they don't want it, first of all, and number two, they're not gonna have the time based on whatever that's going on in their life at the time of your death, when they have to go through your stuff.
They said they rent garbage
Rent
bins.
dumpsters.
and
Yes,
all that
and
goes in the
it's
garbage
true,
bins.
and that is very true, and that has happened.
Yeah.
Because my husband has a dumpster business, he has walked away going, Lisa, you will not believe what people throw away. I mean, literally tubs of stuff, that's exactly what they do. They go through the
Yeah,
mom and dad's
our son's
basement,
already
and
told
they
us.
don't even look through your stuff. They don't want your stuff, they just grab the tubs and they just throw stuff away. So that does happen. So yes, that's a great idea.
Emotionally, it might help us if we had photos of them.
Mhm.
I never looked at the photos either.
And that's why it's really easy to get rid of stuff, because for me, I'm detached from my stuff now because I don't have my own children, I have my stepchildren. My stepchildren don't care about my stuff, or my mother's stuff, or my grandmother's stuff, you know? So it's easy for me now just to go, throw it away.
Well, and with silver, you can sell it now, the price of silver,
Right,
if it's sterling 925,
Yeah.
you can sell it, you can get a good price.
right.
So,
Mhm. So it depends on how valuable your stuff is,
yeah.
you know?
Well, emotionally valued, I'm just talking about
Yeah,
the metal itself.
right, exactly. What other questions you guys have? Anybody? Was this helpful?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, good. Good, that makes
I
me happy.
had one other thing I wanted
Yeah.
to share from a friend that used to be a hoarder, but she isn't anymore. If she buys one thing new, one old
Thing
thing has
goes.
to go.
Mhm.
So she has to want that or need that
Mhm.
more than something.
Yes.
carrying on. And eventually she got down to where she didn't want to part with any of her things. She was surrounded only by things she really liked.
She wanted and liked, yeah. I've heard of that
Stop
trick.
buying.
Yeah, that's a good trick. It's a good trick. When I was getting into the senior move business, I went up to Springs to help this already established senior move manager, and it was amazing to watch this woman professionally with her team in one day downsize a 5-bedroom house
wow.
no, it was really 1 bedroom. She had a living room, she had a little kitchenette
Wow.
in a senior living community, and the thought process of knowing that you have to say, okay, that can go, that can go, that can go. And that's it.
Yeah.
Because if you're going from this much to this much, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I was trying to give you guys the idea of putting some value to it so that if you ever did get into that situation, that you could, know that you can get rid of stuff that maybe isn't that important to you. Yes, ma'am.
I have a kind of a different point of view because my parents died one right after the other, so it wasn't long. But they had taken the time, there are 6 siblings, 6 of us, but they had taken the time, the 10, 15 years before that, to send stuff home with us. Every time we go to the house, it sends, which in the beginning sounded okay. However, when my parents actually died one and next month one, my brothers and sisters, all 6 of us, I doubt that we spent 6 hours together because there was nothing to disperse. They had moved into an assisted living situation. There was nothing for us to sit and remember them or talk about them. And I think that that's been a real detriment to our family, who had before that had lots of family times and things. When we didn't get that goodbye situation on splitting up the stuff, and you take this and you have that. It was, I think it really damaged our family time. So that's when, now, on the opposite side of that, my house is full of junk stuff, wonderful stuff.
It's not junk.
It's full of stuff. I have 4 boys. We have asked them all, what do you want? So we can do the name thing. They don't want anything. They live in California. 2 of them live here, but would like for us to actually move. But they don't want anything. But they were so hard raising 4 boys. It took a lot out of us. And I keep telling them, they keep saying, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. And I keep telling them, no. That's your punishment.
I didn't see that one.
But you know what, Sarah has a very valid point, and I didn't think to bring this up, but now that she mentions it, by keeping her stuff and them saying, we don't want it, we don't want it, we don't want it, she's forcing them to come together at her death. And that's exactly what happened to my 5 remaining siblings, is that we did get to finally go to my parents' home. We got to say our final goodbyes to the home before we put it on the market. We all distributed, we had a big party that day, and we all got to, we laid out everything on the dining room table, and okay, I want that, that, and that. We all took turns, and so it did become like a little goodbye party. So that's true, I hadn't thought about that this time around. But that's a good punishment for them, because they all agreed together.
If you knew the boys, you would agree with me. I will not do that to them. I'll get rid of it. But for right now,
They think they're going to wind up with it. I think they're going to wind up with it.
and I did tell them to go down to La Vida, buy a storefront, and every month with one.
Move stuff in, yeah,
Let it go.
and have consignment. That's not a
Do the
bad
next
idea.
one then.
Will they be clear on why they're getting punished?
Yes. Yes,
They know, they know.
They know.
that's awesome. I love that. And may I be personal here and ask if you don't have children, then what? You know, and that's kind of my scenario.
Yeah.
It's like, then what? I don't have kids to leave this to.
Consignment.
Consignment, yeah.
Yes.
Consignment.
Take it there,
And
they can
donations,
figure it out.
fine, and just put it in my will that I want this, this, and this to go to this, this, and this, you know. Or liquidate it and use that money. That's
But give
about,
it to people.
yeah, give to people, yeah.
Like if you have craft items.
Right, right.
I
And
gave
that's,
away
yeah.
17 containers of fabric.
Oh my,
Oh my God.
Yeah,
yeah.
because I knew I was at the end, I was retiring from my business. I was at the end and I didn't want to keep it. I wanted it to be used, I wanted it to be.
Right,
My staff.
exactly, exactly. Any more questions before we finish? No? Thank you guys for coming, this was great. And there's, like I said, the handouts for the shopping, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And then I also brought a moving to a retirement community little tidbit cheat sheet, just a little planning thing for y'all.